Heather Tiffany pulled it together. What advice would you give someone who wants to start a nonprofit?
Well, I would, my advice, if you're going to want to start a nonprofit, is to do some of the things that I've spoken about in some of the earlier videos. Is you do your research, know what's going on in the community, know what the best practices are, understand that you're doing something, you're giving this mission away, what you're passionate about. Get some ground support and a lot of people around what you're trying to do. Build your momentum, not only in your board but in a volunteer base, and try to help get folks behind what you're doing. It's just important, I think, to realize as a founder that, and there's so many folks that have started nonprofits. And I said this earlier, but back in the 90s, there were a lot of nonprofits that were started and founders that started these things. And now it's interesting that a lot of us are getting, up close to 60 or in our 60s or 70s. And what's going to happen to the next generation? So if you haven't thought about succession planning early on in your beginning of your organization, the way you structure it, the way you put it together, if it's all completely built on you and centered around you, that's probably not the way to put things together. You really need to think about, how am I going to give this thing away? How am I going to, what happens, as my board always likes to say, what happens when the bus hits you? Kind of scary to think about a bus running over me, but anyway, so maybe it's the tigers that will eat me at the zoo. I don't know. But at the end of the day, I think it is important to think about long term, what does this thing look like? How do you build this thing to be sustainable long term, and that can live beyond you? Because it's not about you, it's about the thing you're trying to do. Especially when you incorporate, you've given the mission away, now it's about the mission. And so how is this going to go long term so that this mission can continue to flourish and transform the community in years ahead?